On this episode of In the Gun, we put a bow on the 2025 season for the Mountaineers. We also get ready to finally draw the winner for our 1965 throwback helmet later this week. All that and more on this edition of ITG.
Caution, this podcast contains bad jokes, optimism, and a healthy disdain for Pat Narduzzi. Watching it may increase your actual knowledge of actual football.
ITG.
All the pieces are in place for us to have a chance to win it all.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have.
There's Owen Schmitt in the building.
Like a runaway beer truck down the sidelines.
Towards the end, he in there, Jed Drenning.
I'm not much of an athlete.
The thing that's non-negotiable is playing hard and playing tough.
And Wesley, Valen, Uhler. You are in the gun.
Once you enter this family, there's no getting out.
In the Gun, episode 311 of your new favorite WVU football podcast. I'm Wes Uhler, as always, flanked by the best teammates in the business. We've got the barbecuing, sharp-dressed beer truck, now an author, Mr. Owen Schmitt. We're going to talk about that book here once again in just a few minutes. Don't you worry, as our buddy is adding an author to his lengthy list of lifelong accomplishments. And, of course, the signal caller, Jed Drenning. And all of you for making this possible, and all of our friends for another great season here on ITG. A big, huge thank you to JR, Toothman Ford, everybody there at Team Toothman. We all know cars cost less in Grafton. A big thank you to Rick Lewis and all the good people at Fortis for roof performance and financial certainty guaranteed. You got to visit fortis.us.com. To the good folks at Johnston Equipment, make sure you're checking them out, Route 33 between Weston and Buchanan. And, of course, you can always visit them online, Johnston, that's with a T, johnstoneq.com. And, of course, the providers of the 1965 throwback helmet, which Jed will have more on here in just a minute, our newest friends. It was a great first fall with all the people at the Book Exchange. All your Mountaineer gear and WVU apparel, get it at the Book Exchange. Locally owned and operated retailer with more than 90 years of selling everything you need for game day and everything you need to show you're the ultimate WVU fan. 2 locations, downtown Morgantown, of course, or on Evansdale, right there on Patterson Drive. Or you can always shop online at bookexchangewv.com. They've got some great Black Friday, Cyber Monday time frame deals going on. We also, of course, have our promo code in the gun 20 for 20% off online or in store for all of our loyal listeners here on ITG. Gentlemen, it's time to put a bow on this 2025 season for the Mountaineers after a disappointing loss to Texas Tech to close down the campaign. Before we do that, though, Jed, why don't you tell the people a little bit more about what we got going on this week? We're going to tape a special show Wednesday night that will drop Thursday morning. We're going to obviously talk about a big, huge, fat, chunky recruiting class for this WVU football program. We are, like I mentioned, going to give away that 1965 throwback helmet. Finally, we're going to have our drawing for the helmet, and we're going to have a special guest with us to do so, Jed.
We're working on some things. I'm not so sure we're putting a bow on the season as much as it might be an anchovy at this point, right? But after Saturday, but we're moving on and recapping what unfolded on Saturday, as painful as that might be. But Wednesday, it's obviously National Signing Day, so from a recruiting standpoint, that's going to be a big day. So that's what the show's going to turn on. Is the class, by the time we tape Wednesday night, the class will by and large be together with a couple exceptions from a high school and junior college standpoint. Some of those kids, the junior college kids, won't sign till later. But at any rate, we're going to discuss that, talk about some of the high points of the class, and we're working on a special guest. And it's not to the point I can confirm, but I nearly can, so I don't want to say a name yet. And this person might even be involved in the drawing of the helmet, which, oh, by the way, I don't want to get up and leave you guys, so I'll wait until after the break. But I'll show, for those watching on YouTube, I'll show you that we finally have it in our dirty mitts, the 1965 beautiful throwback helmet. We finally have it in our mitts. And yes, Wes, you mentioned the book exchange code, the in the gun 20. It appears the arrangement we've made with the book exchange, we can extend that into the holidays. So
Love it.
if that's something that you plan on doing, either online at bookexchangewv.com, or if you're in person at either location in Morgantown picking up some Christmas gifts, be sure to use in the gun 20, in the gun 20 to get your 20% off. But it should be a fun show Wednesday. But yeah, a lot of things coming together with this recruiting class. Of course, this will be the first wave. The second wave is really the portal window in early January. So, in this new but weird calendar, it breeds obviously a lot of drama. If you watch what's unfolding in the SEC down at Ole Miss and LSU, pretty nasty stuff, but crazy times to be alive. The calendar needs not just adjusted but fixed. It's twisted as it might be. It's not even as bad as it once was. It was, I would make an argument it was worse with the two portal windows, but it's still pretty bad. But either way, a critical day on that calendar is still National Signing Day, especially if you're looking to rebuild like West Virginia is and still be very active, highly active on the high school front. And maybe just, the cherries on top, I should say, will be from the portal. So that's going to be something you don't want to miss. But we waited a long time and we have a lot of votes. A lot of you folks that listen and watch participated with your comments on the YouTube side. Great job there. So my wife and I have been working on this with due diligence for quite some time. Chrissy's helped me out. So we have the drawing ready and in place. But good for you guys because there was a ton of votes.
Yes, there
So
was.
that's what we're going to do. We're going to piece this thing together Wednesday night and have some fun and see how it goes. And somebody is going to get that helmet, so long as they are subscribed on YouTube.
That's right. That's right. Don't win the lottery ticket and then drop it when you're getting in the car, right? Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. And so for all of you that have been anxiously waiting, participating, asking, we will have a conclusion to our dramatic 1965 throwback helmet giveaway that's been going on all year thanks to our friends at the Book Exchange, and we will have that for you later this week. On Thursday, that will roll out. Before we go to break here, Big O, one more time. I do believe it's Monday, December 1st as we record this. And I do believe now the book is available, or at least should be soon. Remind everybody about the book that you've written and when and where they can pick theirs up for the holiday season.
Yep. So the Little Fullback, it's a children's book about my whimsical story, my journey from Wisconsin to River Falls to West Virginia to the story. Right. I won't give it all away. Well, you already know it, but it's no big deal. But a small snafu. Okay, we were going to drop today, but we made a small adjustment. They have to approve it again, so probably either tomorrow or the next day it'll be out. I will make sure and blast that link as soon as I can. I think people will really enjoy it. It's a fun little creation that Cassie, my better half, has created, and she's a wonderful pre-K teacher here down in Greenbrier County at Smoot Elementary, and it was really kind of her idea. And she's really brought it to life. And she's had some Rachel and Josh, her relatives. They did all the illustrations, so it's
Nice.
It's a West Virginia through and through. But yeah, it's exciting. Hopefully people enjoy it. Hopefully there's some fans out there that get their mitts on it. But it's a good read, and it's a great learning experience for kids.
You have keys, Big O? You're gonna be able to read maybe a paragraph or a page, or we can have a tease.
Here. I'll get out of my office real quick.
This is the good stuff. You got Big O on the move, baby.
Let's see. Wonder what page I should read. So let's see here.
Plot. We want to go in fresh.
We're going in fresh.
Something setting the scene. Yeah.
You want me to set? Should I start with number one?
Oh, it's a counting book. So, yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Well, how high does it go, Owen?
It goes to 10.
Okay. Go with one.
I'll go with one. I'll go with one. Okay, here. Let me get it out here. And you know how it is. You gotta when you read to the kids. Okay, so here's the cover. This is obviously not for resale. This is what it will look like though. And this is page 1. Okay. If you guys can see
But
that.
Cassie's on the cover. No, I
So
mean,
yeah, Cassie's on. Yep.
That was the funniest
Absolutely
part. Yeah,
had
it was
to.
cool. Yeah.
Had to. So this is page 1. Okay, and it
Oh, look at
reads,
that little cheese head.
Wow.
yeah, it says, one special boy born unlike another, brave and strong, an athlete, a brother. Okay. And then the cool thing about this is, obviously, it's number 1. So what do you count one of? Right? The baby boy, the barn, the state of Wisconsin, the star. So there's one muskie down there in the stream, if you can see it. I'll zoom in. There's one robin, the state bird. There's the state flower. So we got some cool little Easter eggs in there too.
That's awesome.
When you read them. So it's really neat, and yeah, excited, proud of it. A lot of work went into it. So excited. Like I said, one more time, the little fullback that could. And if you look in on it, you can see the score from the pit game. That was
gonna
actually
say,
this year.
yeah, looks familiar. Score in the background. Wait, hold on, Where's Reed Carrico on the cover of that? Going, who the hell is this guy? Chest pumping me, right?
We didn't get the after game.
Where's me and Owen in the parking lot 2 hours later, crushing beers and crying?
I know. Hey, speaking of him, hey, Mountaineer for life, man.
Love it.
For life. Loved hearing that.
Yep.
Something with when you wear number 35, it's just sticking with you forever.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. It is.
It was pretty cool to hear him say that, especially a guy who came from, a program as massive as Ohio State, what it meant for him to represent WVU. And then that was pretty cool. Obviously not the way that those guys wanted to go out, but hopefully we will all look back and we'll say, you know what? This was the group that set the culture, and they gave us that memorable pit comeback victory when the series was about to go away for 4 years. And we'll look back on it and we'll say, yeah, it was a tough 2025, but it was the start of something special. And those guys will be remembered as kind of laying that groundwork. Let's get into that and everything. Little Texas Tech. We know it's been a couple days now. Nobody really wants to rehash all the details. We'll give some quick thoughts on that loss to the Red Raiders and really just kind of on the 2025 season as a whole now that it is in the books. We'll do all that when we return on the other side. You are in the gun.
For nearly 20 years, Fortis has been the nation's leader in providing guaranteed roof performance programs for commercial buildings. Fortis offers roof performance solutions that feature extensive initial and ongoing reconditioning for commercial buildings as an alternative to traditional replacement, with long-term performance guarantees that are backed by global leader Lloyd's of London. Fortis offers a comprehensive range of roof performance management programs that provide financial security, extend the life of our customers' roofs, and make a significant impact on ROI. Fortis is currently improving performance and increasing ROI for customers at more than 4,800 locations, with more than 140 million square feet protected, including many Fortune 500 companies that have turned to Fortis to save money, gain financial certainty, and extend the life of their existing roofs. Fortis has helped customers save more than $520 million in capital roof replacement costs for an average ROI of over 250%. To learn more, visit fortis.us.com. Fortis, roof performance and financial certainty guaranteed.
Nobody supports the blue and gold Mountaineers like Toothman Ford. With over 20 NIL deals and counting, Toothman Ford continues to rally behind our student athletes. And it's time we rally and support the dealer that supports the Mountaineers. Not only does Toothman Ford offer the best prices in the state on pre-owned, their never over MSRP campaign on new Fords guaranteed to save you thousands. Drive with pride all season long, knowing you're supporting the dealer that fuels our Mountaineers. Toothman Ford, where cars cost less, in Grafton and at toothmanford.com.
You're listening to Mountaineer Football Talk.
ITG. When the sun's just rising and the work won't wait, you need the equipment that works just as hard as you do. Johnson Equipment delivers power, performance, and reliability day in, day out. Whether you're plowing fields, hauling loads, or planting the future, our tractors are built to take it and then some. Strong, reliable, ready.
Low rate financing available on select Coyote models.
Johnston Equipment, farming made easy.
Get all your Mountaineer gear in WVU apparel at the Book Exchange. They're the locally owned and operated retailer with more than 90 years of selling everything you need for game day and everything else you need to show you're the ultimate WVU fan. Shop at their 2 locations at downtown Morgantown or Evansdale on Pattison Drive, or online at bookexchangewv.com.
When shopping online at bookexchangewv.com, be sure to enter code INTHEGUN20 at checkout for an awesome savings of 20%. That's right, 20%.
Back in the gun here as we roll along. The 2025 season is done, and it closes down in disappointing fashion. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to label it when you lose 49-0. Yes, they are a top 5 team in the country. Yes, they are Texas Tech, a bona fide national champion contender. But still, the way that played out was I think anticlimactic, probably a fair way to put it. As the Mountaineers, again, the 2025 season now done, they will finish 4-8, and our next game won't be until Labor Day weekend against Coastal Carolina now at the end of August to open up the 2026 season. Whereas Texas Tech, their 30th year in the Big 12, will finally go to a Big 12 championship game for the first time. I realize there hasn't been one all of those 30 years. There's been some pauses and things like that, but perhaps the best season in Texas Tech program history, capped off with a massive season, or a massive win, for Texas Tech. If you are watching on YouTube right now, you can see Jed's busted out that gold throwback helmet. Man, that thing is looking good. We might have to sneak over there tonight after Jed falls asleep, and we'll steal that and find a way to divvy it up between ourselves. But Jed, the season in the books now, the final performance in the books. Where you want to go, what you want to hit on before, or kind of as we put a bow on this thing.
Yeah, not much of a bow, is it? Sometimes, this is what struck me. Sometimes in sports, sometimes in college football, and it doesn't happen that often, but it does rarely happen. Sometimes things unfold in a game much like the paper suggests they might. Again, very rarely does it follow the script. This one kind of did. From a matchup standpoint, West Virginia's limitations were obvious and plenty. We know the struggles we've had with any kind of consistent production up front this year. And asking them to step into the meat grinder against a Texas Tech defense that, look, guys, I've said this probably since week 4-ish, right around there, studying this team as I study all the Big 12 teams. I felt for the better part of the season, Texas Tech might not have the window dressing, the bells and whistles. They got production and really good playmakers on the perimeter and their skill positions, but their front seven, I think it's the best in the country. I think they have the best front seven in college football this year. Better than the Blue Bloods, better than Ohio State, better than Georgia. And when's the last time you could say that? It sure wasn't last year, because Texas Tech didn't have a pulse defensively last year. They flipped the switch and became an entirely new team, an entirely new defense. And to ask West Virginia to come out, hey, go make some hay against this front seven that isn't just number 1 in the country against the run, but just happens to be one of the 3 best rush defenses in college football in the last 10 years. You know how you're having historic struggles on offense? Well, they're having historic success on defense. Terrible matchup. And it, unfortunately, played out like you might expect. Again, rarely do those things. And you can make an argument, well, there were a couple things here or there on the table. We had some third and very long situations that the defense earned early in the game to get a chance to shoo them off the field, maybe prolong this thing and stay competitive longer. Who knows? If you force a punt on a 3rd and 20 instead of give up a a first down on a draw play. Who knows if you force a punt on a 3rd and 8 when you should have had a TFL on a tunnel screen instead of letting them wiggle loose and get the first down. I'm not saying you won the game. I'm just saying, could you have made it competitive longer offensively? If you could have developed some sort of pulse instead of having your initial first down of the game come approaching halftime in the last half of the second quarter. So there were some things we left on the table, not much offensively. There were some throws that Scotty normally makes that he didn't, but he played under duress most of the game. The thing that stands out to me, guys, he seemed to be kind of struggling and running for his life the better part of the night. They blitzed him one time. The rest of it was 4-man pressures or less, sometimes 3-man pressures, and they just got after you. We broke down what you were, the task that you were handed in trying to overcome this defensive challenge that is Texas Tech. They had the 3 highest ranked interior D linemen in the Big 12, and they only play 2 of them. They rotate 3. One of them was out against us. They have 2 of the top 4 edge rushers in the country. One of them is legit top 10 pick. They're just a handful at every turn. They have length on the back end. A linebacker who in consecutive years has led the Big 12 in tackles, just a tremendous nose for the football. And we couldn't defy the odds and keep this thing interesting. At no point did we threaten to. And that's, you just don't want to see it turn out like that. This is a very, very good football team. The best defensive football team. And you kind of knew this before the game. I talked about it in the pregame. The last time a defense as good as this Tech defense came to Morgantown was 2011 LSU. That defense to finish number 2 in the country in scoring defense, the Honey Badger defense.
Yep.
But this Tech's defense kind of different even than that. It's just their front 7 is pure nasty, which who knows what's going to happen in the Big 12 championship? Who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs if they get in there? They might be able to maybe make some damage. Their skill positions. Baron Morton's good at quarterback. He's very good. I don't know that he's elite. They got a couple really good receivers. They're not quite Ohio State level at those types of positions yet, but their front 7 is. Money well spent by James Blanchard and that front office. Great job IDing these guys on both sides of the football. Special teams is not a weakness of theirs, Owen. They're a very complete football team. You know, I found myself walking away from that asking, when's the last time a better team than this was at Mountaineer Field? You'd start with last year's Penn State team, and I do think this Texas Tech team's better than that Penn State team. And that Penn State team won a game or 2 in the playoffs. So let's see about Texas Tech. I do think that for all the talent Penn State had, I might take this Texas Tech front 7. I don't know. So they're right there in that conversation. You know, the 2014 Baylor team that we upset, you go back to those Miami teams, they were defensively a different animal, those Miami teams that came to town in the Big East. But a buddy of mine pointed out, he said, I always wondered and didn't want to find out what it might be like to be on the business end of what we were doing to all those teams when Owen and Pat and Steve were here, when Rich had things humming back in the mid-2000s. He said, I always wondered, it seemed like every week we were just, belt to ass to somebody. And he said, I wondered what that felt like. He said, now I kind of understand, and it's not fun. And that's why we want to get out of this as quickly as possible. And nobody wants to get out of it more quickly than Rich Rodriguez.
Oh, do we have Owen? Did Owen freeze?
Yeah, I agree. That was can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Maybe.
I'm back?
Hey, there he is.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Yeah, maybe not. There he is. Okay.
No, we got
Sorry,
you.
guys.
We got you.
No, unfortunate game, to say the least. I was working, so I had 2 things that were bad in a day. I had to work on a Saturday and watch the Mountaineers get their butts whipped. But yeah, you do wonder that I don't know. I'm just glad it's over with. Let's move on. Let's get the reading moving on. And for those guys that stay, be ready to work and be ready to build.
Yeah, I think that's about covers it. I mean, Jed, you kind of mentioned how there were a couple opportunities early on that the defense earned that they weren't able to capitalize. And I mean, I think really other than that, there's not much minutia to discuss. I mean, that first drive for Texas Tech, right? You force a 3rd and 14 and then a 4th and 3, and they're able to convert, and then they end up scoring a few plays later. You go 3 and out once again, punt it right back to them. You've got them in a 3rd and 15. Once again, they run for 26 yards. A couple more 3rd and longs on that drive, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. They're able to convert both, and all of a sudden they punch it in on a 3rd and goal. It's 14-0 real quick. And yeah, you're just, against a team like that is about as close to all she wrote early on in a game, and kind of any opportunity of hanging around and making it interesting. I almost think, guys, though, the one, I don't even know if I'll call it a silver lining, but the one thing I'll take comfort in from Saturday is if that game had to happen, if you had to see Texas Tech and it had to play out as about as one-sided as a football game can be like that, I'm glad it happened the last week of the season, because I think for a couple reasons. One, you don't want that happening in the middle of the year and it's just like an absolute deflating. And yeah, the Utah loss was bad back in September. But, I think this one was a little bit different. So I'm glad it was at the end of the year in that regard and really doesn't deflate the fan base entirely. I also think there's something to be said of like, you get back in the locker room, around 3:30 on Saturday when that game was over, and you're like, okay, if we want to get where we're trying to go, that's what it looks like. That is what we're trying to be in the next couple years. A legit top 10, top 5 opponent, Big 12 favorite who's got a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. You just saw what it looked like. Now you got to figure out how to get there. You kind of feel what it's like to be on the wrong side of that heavyweight bout there, but you saw it at the end of the year. Now you go and hunt down about how you bridge the gap between yourself and teams like Texas Tech, teams like BYU, teams like Utah, that are at the top of this conference right now. I at least like it kind of, coming as a finality, as an end here of like, okay, that really sucked. Now we don't play another football game for 6 months. Let's start bridging that gap.
A lot of truth to that. And, part of me, I thought about this and I'm like, look, I can't imagine, because I don't know that I've ever been part of something like that at the end of a season and didn't have a chance to rectify it. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good point too.
I've lost big games at the end of a season, championship games, state championships, national championships. But that's something that'll eat at you too. And for those thinking that in this new age, it really doesn't matter because the team's going to be so flipped over and new. Well, yes, it's not like it used to be, but trust me, there'll be enough faces in that building returning that they'll remember. And if 49-0 becomes a battle cry, then so be it. But that was kind of rock bottom in many ways. Now, again, it was against the team that's going to escort a lot of teams to rock bottom. I mean, they're one of the 5 best teams in America. So you better have your ducks in a row and playing really good football to be competitive against them. We didn't have our ducks in a row and we weren't playing really good football. This is a season that saw us. We had a couple outliers. You mentioned the fact we found a way to win the brawl. We went on the road and knocked off a ranked team in Houston, had a nice win there. So there were some building blocks. What was frustrating about this was that corner that it felt like we turned after the UCF blowout loss. We came home against a good TCU team and gave them all they can handle, really. And then, played good football for the better part of the last month on the road against a good Arizona State team. But to see it wrap up like that against that team is far too complete to not bring just your absolutely best performance of the season, because they're going to expose every shortcoming you have. Every issue you have against Texas Tech is going to be laid bare for the whole world to see. And they laid bare all our shortcomings and then some, because they're a really, really good football team. And when they come to play, and they came to play Saturday, it's a chore because they're good in all the right places. Two things travel well: defense and running game. And those are the two things that they've mastered, and they're very solid in the other areas. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens against BYU in the rematch. They hit on them the first time. I don't think that's going to sit well with BYU, but BYU's not as complete a team as Texas Tech, but the best team doesn't always win. The best team on that day. So if Texas Tech is the best team at Jerry World on Saturday, they're going to advance, and they could be trouble for some of these teams that might not necessarily see them coming, just because, again, I look at the areas that they're really good, and they're really good in that front seven. So if you show up and think you're just going to maul them, I'm not so sure that's going to happen. And their ability to put 3 or 4 down and get after you and drop resources into coverage creates problems for any offense. So you're playing the best of the best when you get to the postseason, the playoffs, and that's what they'll be facing. But which is why I hate to belabor this point. When you had such a profoundly efficient, near perfect day like Texas Tech did in every respect in all 3 phases, offensively, they gashed us as much as they wanted to and more. They're 17 of 24 in transition downs, 14 of 21 on third down, 3 of 3 on fourth down. They did everything they wanted to do, and then they just throttled us on offense. So the fake punt guys, here's where I stand on that. To me, it's weird because, first of all, I was kind of going to give Joey McGuire a free pass and say, okay, well, sometimes just based on alignment, those things are baked into the equation. They're automatic checks. And trust me, you can say, well, hey, take the check off. You're up 42-0 or whatever. That's easy to say, but that's one of the last things you're going to remember to do. Oh, remind the punt team not to make that automatic check. First of all, you're not going to do that. But then Joey McGuire actually said in his post-game presser, no, they owned it. They said we wanted more reps for the backups on offense. So they actually knew what was happening and went with that. It's up to us to stop it. It's much like the conversation we had when James Franklin scored the touchdown in the final seconds in Happy Valley 2 years ago. Much like that. But
winners write the story, right? Everything else just sounds like loser talk.
Here's what I don't get. This is the last time that you're going to cruise to a victory. Every game you have remaining now, you're going to battle your entire soul's worth to try and claw every advantage you possibly can in every dimension of the game. So you're going to be playing good teams in all 3 phases, starting with BYU and then the playoffs. Teams that are always watching for fake punts. But you know what? Owen, you and I have sat in these special teams meetings. How attentive are the guys populating the punt block unit, the punt return unit, when they say, hey, now watch it now. These guys can fake a punt on you. Sometimes you're kind of even not half paying attention. You're half drifted off. But when they're able to say, hey, just last week against West Virginia, look here, they actually did it. Now you immediately have a reputation as a team that likes to fake punts. Right before you're starting the postseason, I'm like, so now that's going to get everybody's attention. Yes, your fake punt might look different than when you ran against West Virginia, but now you've got these super talented, complete teams on high alert, just in case you wanted to steal a possession and fake a punt. Now it's going to be all the more difficult. I don't get that part of it. What did you gain from that? That's the part I'm not bothered by them going vertical on 3rd and 10 with an outside release for a score to make it 49-0. Look, you're just getting reps with your backups. They need reps. But that part doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't understand why you would do that right before this critical run that you're about to try and go on. If I'm Texas Tech, that's the reason that I'd be reluctant to do it. I just don't want to earn that reputation going into the postseason as a team that likes to do that kind of stuff. So at any rate, they played a complete football game, and they're a really good team. And when you face really good teams that play complete football games, we didn't finish what we started in terms of the limited opportunities we might have had. We left some throws on the table. Didn't get a lot going in the run game against a team that's tough to get anything going against. Defensively, when you can't finish the job and get them off the field, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day, and it was. We didn't tackle incredibly well, almost 20 missed tackles. I think we ended up with 17. didn't force a lot of missed tackles. We knew this group of wideouts, not just the backs, was tough to get to the ground. When you look at yards after catch and yards after contact, they were among the national leaders as a group. And we just didn't do what it was going to take for us to overachieve to the point that we make this thing interesting in any way. And that's just kind of what played out.
Am I frozen again?
No, you're back. Oh, you're clear. You're crystal clear now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think about when we did that in the Sugar Bowl. Okay. And we had dialed that up all year. You know what I mean? We always worked on it. But, to your point, isn't that something that's a play you want to pull out when you need it. You know what I mean?
Pull it out. That's right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's something you pull out in the national championship when you're needing that.
That's something you pull out in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, brother, when it's time to put that thing on ice and your name's Phil Brady.
Exactly. But yeah, and then you can look at it both ways. I mean, that's another thing they're going to have to, another thing they're going to have to scheme for, whatever. I don't know. I mean, the element of surprise is blown there, but hey, I get it. Need more reps for the guys behind. I mean, as if you didn't get enough all year, but just put you. Hey, I wouldn't put it past anybody right now. There's been a lot of crazy stuff in gambling and sports right now. Did they need that touchdown? I don't even know. I didn't even look at it. I mean,
who knows? Just imagine if you guys, if Phil Brady had faked a punt as you were cruising to a win in the regular season finale at South Florida in 2005. If you did that, put that on tape for last game.
Yeah,
and then Georgia's watching that game. Hey, the last time they played, look what they did. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Well, it'd be coming then. You know what I mean? We didn't fake a punt all year. So it wasn't even on the radar. So I mean, I get it 100%. I mean, you kind of want to pull those plays out when you almost not even when you need them. You know what I mean?
Well, you need to comment on the broadcast after they scored them. They had 3rd and 10 around our 30, and they threw that outside release fade for the touchdown. And that guy won the 50-50 ball in the end zone. They scored to make it 49-0. And I told Tony and Coach Wallace, I said, guys, I'm kind of disappointed because if that was incomplete, I think we'd got a chance to see what their fake field goal looks like. So who knows, right? That would have made as much sense to me. I don't know. But
well, my final thought.
Knows?
Listen, my final thought is this. Sports are cyclical, right? Everything comes back around. You go from power eyes and fullbacks to spread offenses, back to physicality, back to spread. Defenses go from heavy base formations to nickel looks and sub package stuff, back to heavy for. It's all cyclical in sports. You're good, you're bad. The clock keeps turning, right? There will come a time again where WVU football is good. It's been a long 7 years for us loyalists, all right? It's been a long time since we've been ranked and played meaningful November football, but that time will come again. We had 4 losses this year, guys, of 30-plus points. We lost by 31, 34, 32, and 49 in the finale. That shoe will one day again be on the other foot. And I just want to say, when it does, we better not have our linebackers trying to stat pad by throwing touchdowns to get a non-existent Heisman Trophy and throw an interception. All right? Winners get to write history. Everything else sounds like loser talk. That's the biggest cornball thing I've seen in forever. First of all, your linebacker with 1 sack and a couple forced fumbles and interceptions is not winning the Heisman Trophy. Tyrann Mathieu didn't win it in 2011. No defensive player is winning it again. All right? It's not happening. That to me is so Mickey Mouse. And hey, go for it. Do your thing. You're damn good. Winners write the story. Everything else is loser talk. But when that shoe's on the other foot and we're the hammer once again, and we're the ones crushing teams and trying to stat pad and get some style points, I hope to God we're not putting a linebacker out there in little tiddlywink situations to try and get him some BS touchdowns. Get out of here. Miss me with that. You're the number 5 team in the country. Your goals should be bigger than that. I'm glad he threw an interception. He's not even going to get invited to New York. If they invited 10 guys, he wouldn't even get invited to New York. Okay, sorry. That's it. I'm done.
I liked your text to me during the game, Wes, but that tells me you're paying attention. I had a comment on the broadcast, though, and
I'm always paying attention, Jed.
Yeah, what did I say? Something about New York when he threw the
You
pick?
said after, yeah. So Rodriguez, Tony is on the call, and Tony's like they're putting Rodriguez in, trying to get him to find the end zone. Oh, he's going to throw. Oh, he throws an interception, and Tony and Coach do the call and all that, and that didn't work out. And Jed just chimes in. Jed goes, "Let's see if that gets him to New York."
So here's where I agree with you, Wes.
I heard it. Jed, I'm walking to the bathroom out in the concourse, and I heard it out in the concourse. I was peeing my pants walking to the bathroom.
It was so. In other words, if you're playing Arizona State, Texas Tech's in a battle in Arizona State in the middle of the third quarter, and you got a second and goal at the 3, and you don't need to know if you'll punch it in, and it's a 1-possession game, and he comes in and you do that and you score. Now I'm impressed. That shows me his versatility as a player. All right, you just impacted a meaningful situation in a game. Great. Yeah. You helped your football team by making an actual play. But to bring him in these blowout wins in goal-to-go situations, hey, watch this. He can go off tackle for a yard. Well, who couldn't behind that offensive line, right? And then they get so cute, they try and throw that pass. Look, that might have been the only fleeting moment of satisfaction I had all day when Ben Cutter snatched that football. That might have been the only moment all day. And look, I have nothing against Rodriguez. He's a great player, tremendous nose for the football, knocks it loose. He's a headache, okay? And it's not realistic. If Ndamukong Suh's not winning it as a defensive player, nobody is, okay? That's the gold standard right there.
Tyrann Mathieu and Ndamukong Suh, yeah, no chance.
Yeah, so if that's not happening, nobody's winning it. I understand you're trying to jockey him into position to get him to New York, so you say you had somebody there, but this isn't how you do it. You do that in a meaningful time, in a meaningful game. If you think has the ability to be a dual threat and make plays in the red zone for you, fine. Put him in a tie game in the third quarter, sometime in the middle of the season. Show that he's that versatile. Do it when the game's freaking over. And what are you doing? Everybody sees this for what it is. That just diminishes what he's all about. It doesn't enhance what he's all about. That's not helping your player. It's hurting your player.
No,
more power to him. When you're blowing somebody out by 40 plus, you can pick the script. You can toy with things on first and goal at the 1 and try cute little trinket gadget plays. But you know what? The football gods don't like it. They don't like it. And there's such a thing as karma. And all it did was hurt his chances instead of help him. So again, you're way too complete and solid a football team to need that kind of nonsense. You really are. You're legit. You are legit. And how you flip that switch so quickly in 12 months compared to where you were defensively a year ago and otherwise, it shows you just the progress that you have made. A lot of teams spend money. It's easy to say, hey, they're only doing this because there's a second highest paid roster in the country. Yes, that's an instrumental part of this, of course, but not everybody spends it as well as they do. There's a reason, just like we talked about in the preview, James Blanchard, their GM, there's a reason Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman made not just one hard push to try and steal him, but 2. And he said, nope, unfinished business in Lubbock. I'm staying. It's a solid operation. Hats off. And I mean that. You are clearly the best team in the Big 12. If you bring it, nobody's going to play with you. Now, take care of business next week. Don't do anything stupid or cute. You're just going to get somebody hurt. You're going to need all hands on deck. I don't understand why you showed the fake punt. I wish you'd have kept that in your pocket for one of these playoff games because I want the Big 12 to thrive and do well. I don't get that. Act like you've been there before, just like Owen said. That was the first time we faked the punt all year. Georgia didn't have that on tape. They had to dig back a couple years to find the last time Rich did that. Save those things for times when they mean something. Same the Jacob Rodriguez thing. If you actually thought you had a chance at that play, what are you doing it when it's 42-0 for? You didn't think there was a chance. You didn't think it was going to impact the game. You're just trying to, come on, man, just take the next step. Look, here's what you got to do now, Texas Tech. And this is coming from a guy who's attached to a 4-8 team. Okay, because we aspire to greater things. We will return to greater things. But Texas Tech, act like you've been there. Try and handle this prosperity. I know you're not used to it, and I'm happy for you. I really am. But act like it. Handle the prosperity like a winner does, and don't be doing these goofy little things. They're going to hurt your chances potentially to win a football game against a really good team in the coming weeks. That's all I'm saying. Because, look, I want you to do well. I really do. I want the Big 12 teams to fare well in the postseason. And I don't think that helped Texas Tech's chances of doing that.
Yeah. Hey, they can do what they want. They are the ones sitting on top of the mountain of the Big 12 right now. That's for sure. But I don't know. Some of that was Mickey Mouse. All right. And when we're returning the favor in a few years, we'll just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. But gentlemen, I think that'll do it for this edition, another award-winning episode of In the Gun. Make sure you're tuning in on Thursday. We're going to have this helmet drawing, special guest, a whole bunch of fun stuff, and we'll kind of continue to put a wrap on the 2025 season.
Remiss if we didn't say, look, setting all this aside, look at we shared it in the group chat. Look at the donation that Texas Tech people made before the game after the National Guard shooting.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you brought that up.
That's first class right there. That outclasses any shortcoming they might have demonstrated by hurting themselves on the football field and giving a secret away for the future, whatever it might be. That in and of itself is worth a tip of the cap. Great for them for doing what they did. So, yeah, we were all really impressed by that. And we have to mention that. It's easy to sit here and slam them for a fake punt when they shouldn't have and all this and hurt themselves. That's great. But at the end of the day, let's remember things are bigger than football. And boy, did they really elevated and made some donations to all the key players at a time when it was most needed after the National Guard incident, which involved the West Virginia National Guard, of course. So hats off to West Virginia Tech. We can't say enough about that good people there. So there you go.
I'm glad you said that, Jed, and I think that's a good way to close this thing down. For the producer, co-host, Mr. Do-It-All, Schuyler Callihan, the barbecuing, beer trucking, sharp-dressed author, Big O, and the signal caller, Jed Drenning. I'm Wes Uhler. Hoping you all had a lovely Thanksgiving and wishing you a happy holiday month. Merry Christmas here as we roll into December. Man, it has happened quickly. You see Jed holding that beautiful throwback helmet. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to give that thing away in just a few days. So make sure you are rocking and rolling with us as always, as Jed will model this 1965 throwback helmet here. As we're looking forward to giving that thing away here in just a few days. Thanks to all of you for another great season here on the podcast. But obviously, we're not going anywhere. We are just getting started, and we'll continue the party and the conversation all throughout the off season. But that'll do it for us today. Before we get out of here, the one thing we ask of you is to be an ear and tell an ear about your new favorite WVU football podcast. Be an ear and tell an ear about your new favorite WVU football podcast. There we go. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you later this week. You've been In the Gun.
ITG.
The fun doesn't have to stop here.
Be sure to hit subscribe and never miss an episode.
If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback,
be sure to follow us on X at In the Gun Podcast.
Join us again next time.
Until then,
tell an ear to tell an ear about your new favorite WVU football podcast.
This mission is over. It's over.